Hello, everybody that's on quarantine. It's Mrs. Bradbury. I hope that you're doing well today. I thought I would explain the mapping populations in Africa assignment to you, and my computer is not working, so hopefully by next week you won't have to watch this on the cell phone video anymore. To start with, you should have an assignment to put on Google Classroom that looks like this. Now, you're able to do this assignment on Kami, so you do not actually have to print it off. I actually also gave you a paper that should look like this that is also linked to the Google Classroom site. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to name yourself as a population. So we're going to say that everyone that's online is going to be in Cameroon. So if you look here, the very first part of your project is going to be to find these coordinates. Once you find the coordinates of each one of these countries, you are then going to draw an arrow to them on the continent of Africa and show where they are located. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this microsatellite information. So what a microsatellite is as it pertains to DNA, is it's any time you have DNA that has a few different repeats, those repeats are shown in colors on the microsatellite DNA. So in this case, we have a few different populations. We have Cameroon, Tsavo, Etosha, Kalahari, Zambia, Botswana, Sabi-Sans, Zimbabwe, Fanny Roberts, and Umfolozi. Those are all different populations of lions, and you have all of this data. So the next thing you have to do is you start answering the questions on the Analyzing Microsatellite Data sheet. So you're going to write two populations that have very similar alleles. Now, in order to see a similar allele, what we're going to look for is we're going to look for similarities in the colors and the patterns. So I would say my two that are similar are probably going to be the Etosha National Park, which is all of these lions, as well as the Kalahari down here, which is just these 4 lions. Then the next thing I'm going to do is look at those on the map. And when I look at Etosha and the Kalahari, I'm going to see how far apart they are. If they're very close together, it would make sense that they would have very similar DNA. One of the issues we have is that if their DNA is similar but they are in different places, then that gives us reason to believe that maybe they came from somewhere else, or maybe there's something else related to why they ended up where they ended up. So you are going to answer questions 1 through 8. Those all deal with these different populations and with your microsatellite DNA. For question number 5, you will notice that Zambia, even from right here, I can see that like these 4 lions right here seem to be quite a bit different from the rest of these. I have some ideas of my own about where I think these 4 came from. And if I keep in mind that some lions are probably moved by people in order to try to save species or to add genetic diversity, because as you think about it, genetic diversity in microsatellites is probably seen by having a number of different colors rather than having all lions the same color. So I think that maybe people moved those there, or maybe they migrated themselves. So you're going to use some of that information to try to explain what you see on the microsatellites. The next part of your assignment is the CER, which is the claims evidence reasoning. You're going to ask a question related to these microsatellites up here. So you're going to look at those, find any patterns or find anything that you don't understand about them, and ask that as a question. Then you're going to use evidence from data, which is where you can look at the microsatellites to try to answer your questions, or you can look up microsatellite DNA and find information about that as well to help you answer them. One of my questions that I asked was, why are some populations genetically different but in geographically similar areas? And so then I started researching that. I looked to be able to tell them, I said which populations I thought looked similar genetically but were separated geographically. And then the next thing I did is I started looking at the lions of some of these areas. So like if I'm looking for the lions of Sabi-Sans, I can look on Google and I can look up Sabi-Sans lion population and I can find a bunch of information about them. And that helped me to understand why they were where they were. But the very next part you have is your claim. So your claim is basically the answer to your question. After that, you're going to have your reasoning. Your reasoning is how you use your evidence to support your claim. So in my case, it was I looked up lions of a certain area and I found that they were moved there by other people and that is probably why those lions had different DNA than the lions around them. I also asked another question about which lions were genetically different and whether that was important to a lion population or not. I believe that genetic diversity is very important to maintaining a population. If a population all looks the same, kind of like we have with Etosha here or Cameroon, we could end up with problems that could be an indicator of inbreeding or low genetic change, which means that if something comes along and attacks that specific gene that that animal has, likely its whole population could be in jeopardy instead of just part of it. All right, so that is our explanation for that. Your classes are doing map testing on Thursday and Friday. If you can join us, feel free to try. Our test code should be Bradbury. If you have any problems with it, please let me know. Also, make sure that you get the analyzing microsatellite data done by the end of the week. I hope to see you guys soon. I hope that your quarantine is going well. Have a really nice day. Bye.